This is a boxcar called the West Virginia Mercy Car, part of the Mercy train. And this structure was built in 1796, and it sits here right here in the Veterans Park in Welch. Russell Barge started some saplings with acorns gathered from trees in the park, and has painted 2 saplings near the present site of this boxcar called the Mercy Boxcar right here in West Virginia. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. This is P9 and I'm here with another video. And this morning I am in the town of Welch, West Virginia. Welch is a town that's located in McDowell County, West Virginia. And this is my first vlog in the state of West Virginia. So I'm right here downtown Welch. So we're gonna get into it. This is a city with a lot of history. It has a population of 3,590, and it was incorporated as a city in 1893. So this was a post-Civil War founded city. And right here, before we get into the heart of downtown, we have this really nice mural that stands out. And it basically illustrates McDowell Street back in the 1920s here in downtown Welch. You see a cigar shop, drugstores, some more cigar shops over here on the right, a Western Union, and also you see a shoe mart, and you see the background of the lush mountains, and you see the people walking around, as you can see. And I think that's one of those Model Ts, if I'm not mistaken, right there in the middle. And yeah, this is Welch, West Virginia, back in the 1920s. And let me get some of the history. Now, the city of Welch was founded in 1894 and named in honor of Captain Isaiah A. Welch. Welch has served as the county seat of McDowell County since 1892. Early as 1919, the Veterans Day Parade began and remains the oldest of its kind in the nation. Welch is also home to the nation's first, let me go over here to the other side because it's a continuation. So Welch is the home of the first World War I memorial building and first municipality built, owned, and operated parking garage. Coal remains the chief source of revenue. After the 2001 and 2002 floods, Welch began recovery and a new vision by building new infrastructure, rearing the buildings, and opening the new Riverfront City Park. So yeah, so again, this is a mural illustrating McDowell Street in the 1920s. And as you guys are about to see, it's a contrast between then and now in regards to how the downtown looks. So let's go check it out. You're going to see a sharp contrast from that time period. So a lot of abandoned buildings in Welch. I'm pretty sure, I guess this is a residential building, an apartment building. But right here, it's a boarded up building right here. They do have a water and maintenance shop over here. But let me go over here, see a marker with more history behind Welch. Now here's a history of Welch right here. Now this is an image back in 1946, a photograph of the bustling downtown Welch. As you can see, they had theaters. And I see a bunch of those Model Ts. And Welch is named for Captain Isaiah Welch, as we pointed out earlier, who was a surveyor whose accounts of rich coal seams in the Elkhorn Valley helped encourage development of the Norfolk and Western Railway, now the Norfolk Southern Corporation. And in 1888, Captain Welch bought land at the confluence of Elkhorn Creek and Tug Fork in anticipation of the arrival of the railroad. The rail line reached Welch in 1891, and the city became the McDowell County seat in 1892 and incorporated in 1894. And within a few years, more than 30 mines were in operation nearby, bringing a large influx of both native-born and foreign mine workers to the area. Welch is also best known for two different events: the 1921 murder of Sid Hatfield and the 1960 visit of the presidential candidate John F. Kennedy. Now, you know, there's a lot of history. You had the Hatfield and McCoys, who also were here in West Virginia. And, you know, Deputy Ed Chambers, who was killed on the steps of McDowell County Courthouse by operatives of the Baldwin Phelps Detective Agency. So it was also some infamous events that took place here. And JFK visited Welch twice during the 1960 Democratic primary campaign, speaking out against the poverty, want, and hunger that he saw in the region. So coal mining was, of course, was and still is, for the most part, a huge part of the economy here in West Virginia. So you're going to see a lot of, as we go through West Virginia, a lot of coal mining history. But yeah, Kennedy basically came here. He spoke out against all the basically the poverty and wealth disparities and things of that nature. So here's a map of Welch right here. Again, the confluence of Elkhorn Creek and Tug Fork, as you can see. And there goes JFK right there, speaking back in 1960 at the Welch Police Headquarters. And you had Sid Hatfield slain before the courthouse. He was the former Mattawan police chief. A noted figure in the recent West Virginia mine troubles. And here's some images of Welch throughout the course of history. So yeah, it's really cool. Really nice history. Some unfortunate history as well, but very intriguing history nevertheless. And here goes workers working on the Heartland Corridor, which was a project, and it took place back in October 2007 and completed in September 2010. It was just basically a number of bridges and tunnels along the old North and Western line between Bell Spring, Virginia and Bull, West Virginia. And the Norfolk Southern Corporation and federal and state agencies involved are proud of their cooperation and achievement. So they basically just worked on a bunch of tunnels, as you can see right here, you know, for the railroad companies. There goes Norfolk Southern. So Norfolk Southern does have a line that runs through West Virginia, outside of Virginia, and through parts of Kentucky as well. There's a map of all the different tunnels on the Heartland corridor. And there's like at least, 5 tunnels that operate through Welch, and some through nearby Kimball. So the topography of Welch, surrounding the steep hills and V-shaped valleys and sharp ridges, Welch is tucked into this rugged terrain within the town on the narrow valley floor, less than 1,000 feet wide in certain places, of Tug Fork and its tributaries. It was through this unique landscape that Norfolk and Western Railroad built its railroad lines in the 19th century, so that trains could access southern West Virginia's bounty of high quality coal and transport it to the rest of the country. Due to the rugged landscape, building of the rail line required construction of many bridges and tunnels throughout the area. So they had to get clearance for 28 tunnels, and 24 overhead obstructions were cleared. So they had to, they had to do a lot of excavations and basically, clear it just to make room for these tunnels and things of that nature, because this is a really steep valley. These are some steep roads, steep hills. Yeah, I know that was a huge undertaking, that project, due to the topography and the geography of this region. I was riding over to West Virginia, and there was a lot of twists and turns and, sharp curves on the road, on the highways. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. How you doing, sir? I'm good, man. How about yourself? That's good. This is the Martha Moore Riverfront Park. It was developed in the aftermath of the devastating flood of May 2002. Several buildings along McDowell Street in the downtown area were damaged repeatedly, to an extent that some of the structures had to be demolished for safety reasons rather than being repaired again. The city and council and mayor of Welch had several goals to utilize the newly empty space in the downtown area, and the city wanted to create a space that would display vision and imagination, enhance the quality of life for residents, visitors, and businesses, develop an imagination and visually pleasing environment for the downtown area that not only included green spaces with access to the river for recreation, but also streetscape improvements which will emphasize and play off of the historic value of the city, and connect the new downtown development with Lincoln's Park, a more traditional park that includes tennis courts, swimming pool, and miniature golf, skateboard parks, and walking trails. So the park was designed with preservation of existing elements in mind, and therefore during construction the foundation walls of the raised structures were left in place to provide additional historic character, in addition to remnants of a basement in one of the raised structures. So it was another undertaking. They made improvements to the park. Shout out to the Triad Engineering of Dunbar, West Virginia, and Joe Young was the landscape architecture on the project and presented the project in the competition. So Joe Young, the landscape architect, shout out to him. And the park was completed in 2009 and named for Welch City Council for Mayor Martha H. Moore, whose inspiration and tireless work brought project to the completion. So shout out to the City Council of Welch, Mayor Martha Moore, Joe Young, the architect, and the American Triad Engineering of the Dunbar, West Virginia, for their, efforts in creating this beautiful downtown park. So without further ado, we're going to check it out. And it's the Martha H. Moore Riverfront Park. Beautifully, really nicely designed for the old historic town of Welch. and look at the view from the Riverfront Park. I just had to get some historical context, give you guys some historical context behind this Riverfront Park. Also, there's a freight train that's passing by over there in the background. Martha Moore Riverfront Park. I like that. I like that design right there too, how they cut these circles and made this I guess make it like a seating area. You can actually sit there. They have the benches right there. They have the stairs that lead down to the river. It's pretty cool. Really nice landscaping and architecture. So what you're also going to see is while walking, you're going to notice a lot of these banners with Welch saluting different military personnel from different branches of the armed forces. Woodrow Wilson, U.S. Army Air Forces. It's a whole bunch of them as you walk through downtown. So shout out to Welch for honoring those individuals who I would assume are from Welch, you know. But also here's another mural right over here. This is basically a mural of the city, the townspeople. This is really cool, especially they got the lion right there. So the murals, by the way, I had to look up because I didn't see the name of the design. Oh, there it is. There it is. Tom Acosta. Tom Acosta did the murals. He did the mural, the first mural that we did, that we saw. It was by Tom Acosta. He also did this mural as well. The first mural was 2009, and this mural was in 2011. So there it is, right there. There you go. Shout out to Tom Acosta. Did a really nice job designing these murals on these historical buildings. So many of these buildings probably, when a lot of these buildings look like they were hotels in the city's heyday. But many of these buildings, of course, are abandoned. This one's abandoned. And I guess that pretty much goes to show you the economic state here in the city. Who's that right there? I think is that I I want to say it's Jimi Hendrix, but I could be wrong. I should know who that is. I feel like I should know who that is. And but yeah, this is an image of Colwood native Cecil Surratt, shown here at age 18. And this photograph dated from October 23rd, 1944. He played in his first radio gig on Welch station WBRW when he was just 14 years old. The year the station went on the air. WBRW's call letters came from the first initial of the last name of the station founders, John Blakely, L.E. Rogers, and J. Reed Werniss. WBRW ceased broadcasting on April 30th, 1955, and sold its assets to WELC Radio, courtesy of Cecil Surratt. So yeah, there he is right there at the age of 18 with the guitar in hand. Wow, so I wonder if this building used to be where the station's located. Interesting. And this is the drugstore right here, Flatiron Drugstore. Oh, they have a movie theater right here. I wonder if it's open, because I see a lot of buildings down here are abandoned. So I wonder if this is still a functional movie theater. I mean, I know it's early in the morning, so it probably wouldn't be open, but it doesn't look like it's open. But it looks like it's 9 times out of 10 an abandoned theater. It's called the Pocahontas. I don't know. That one's kind of a question mark. But they do have a Social Security Administration building right here. And you have the Municipal Park parking building right here. And fun fact, Steve Harvey, the famous comedian Steve Harvey, was actually born here in Welch, West Virginia, but he grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. So there's that. This was the Oddfellows Temple, which was built back in 1929. Yeah, these buildings look really run down and abandoned. I'm not sure if this definitely had to be a warehouse right here. And check this out. Check out that that mural right there of Welch, West Virginia, and what looks like those designs you see on the bandana. It's really cool. It's really cool. That one's by Blue. And they also have this mural of Jesus. The S has the Superman logo. This is really cool. Really cool. Home church was here 2024. To God be the glory. Okay. So shout out to Home Church for this nice mural. We got the postal service right here, the post office. Welch right here. And this building right here on the right is Elkhorn Towers apartment building. And there's some houses. If you go further down this street, there's gonna be some houses sitting on top of a hill. Wow, check out these houses, man, sitting on top of these hills. This is typical right here in West Virginia. I'm over here on Bank Street, downtown Welch. And on this street is where the major bank is, right here in the city. You have another apartment building right here on the right. This is the banking center right here, the bank that I just mentioned, the MCNB. And that's the Citizens Drugstore over there. And but right next to it, we have the National Coal Heritage Area Interpretive Site. So let's go check this out. Now, Welch was incorporated 1893, named for Captain I.A. Welch, who led in coal development of this county and founded the city. Here is the first memorial building erected in the U.S. to the memory of the veterans of World War I. So here's a slew of markers right here. And of course you have this right here, which says McDowell County Courthouse, which stands on a grassy lot overlooking Wyoming Street. Welch was selected as the county seat after a lengthy debate over its location. Prior to the 1892 election, the courthouse has been located in Perryville and Coalwood, but as the population of Welch increased, residents demanded that Welch be named the county seat. So construction of the McDowell County Courthouse began in 1893. Frank Pierce Milburn, an architect during the 19th to 20th century, designed the courthouse. Contractors C.W. and C.H. Rush built the Romanesque Revival style courthouse using Berea stones. The courthouse and jail were completed in 1894 and cost approximately $43,000. In 1909, an addition was built, and to house the county and city clerk's offices, and 3 more additions, including a jail, were constructed behind the courthouse between 1963 and 1979. There goes the jail and courthouse right there. And this is the decorated McDowell Courthouse that sits on the hill, as you can see. And this was the McDowell County Courthouse, which is like a postcard right here. So that's the history of that. Then you had here's a marker concerning Hatfield and Chambers, who was killed on the courthouse steps. The McDowell County Courthouse was site of a significant event in West Virginia's mine wars. On October 1st, 1921, Sidney Hatfield, former Matawan chief of police and hero to Union coal miners, and his friend Deputy Ed Chambers arrived at the courthouse to answer charges that stemmed from the shooting at Mohawk, a mining camp in McDowell County. As Hatfield and Chambers, with their wives by their sides, walked up by the courthouse steps, Baldwin Phelps detectives shot and killed both men. The detectives were retaliating against Hatfield and Chambers for their involvement in the Matawan massacre, where 7 detectives, 2 bystanders, and Matawan Mayor Cable Testerman was killed in a shooting. The murder of Sid Hatfield led to the Miners' March on Logan. So this was a series of infamous events that took place here in McDowell County. So there were arrests made in this incident. Charlie Everett Lively, George Buster Pence, and William Salters were arrested and charged with murdering Hatfield and Chambers. Their trial took place in McDowell County's criminal court, with both Lively and Pence claiming self-defense. Salters testified that he was standing by the courthouse's entrance where the shooting began and did not fire his weapon. But of course, jurors acquitted all 3 men of murder. That was common back then, back during that time. So yeah, here's images. That's Sid Hatfield right there. Photo courtesy of the Eastern Regional Coal Archives. Left bottom was Ed Chambers, who was 22 at the time of this image, 1921. And this was courtesy of the West Virginia and Regional History Center and West Virginia University Libraries. And yeah, you have the unidentified man speaking during the Hatfield murder trial right here. And you have the widows of Sid Hatfield and Ed Chambers, who accompanied their husbands to Welch, West Virginia. And this is actually the headline right here. So yeah, the Bluefield Daily Telegraph. Interesting. And there's an image of Captain Isaiah Welch, the namesake of the city, who was a land surveyor, civil engineer, and captain in Confederate Army. And he was hired by Major Jebediah Hotchkiss, a cartographer, to survey the coal and timber values in southern West Virginia. In 1873, Welch began surveying what would be called the Pocahontas coal fields. And he was impressed by the quality and quantity of coal, but feared it would be a couple of generations before the coal could be transported to the markets. It was Welch purchased in 164 acres at the junction of Tug Fork River and Elkhorn Creek from John Henry Hunt. And Welch then divided the land into lots and began selling them to coal barons and entrepreneurs who built stores, banks, churches, schools, and homes near downtown and along the hilltops. And that was when Welch was in his heyday, of course, because of all these wealthy coal miners in the coal industry. And again, you got Isaiah Welch. There's an image right here of him. And there's his tombstone right there at the Oak Hill Cemetery near Bramwell. And here's a view of a map that illustrates the coal fields throughout southern West Virginia. You have Mingo County, Logan Coalfield in Wyoming County, Mercer County, the Winding Gulf Coalfield, and right here in McDowell County, the Flat Top Pocahontas Coalfield. And here's an image of West Virginia back then, January 1903, view of Welch, West Virginia. And they also have the ethnic population. And it was a large and diverse ethnic population in the early 1900s. A lot of the immigrants came from Europe, with the largest concentration from Italy, Hungary, Russia, Poland, and Austria. Smaller numbers traveled from Australia, Canada, Mexico, Central and South America, Cuba, and the West Indies and Asia. They left their home and searched for employment for religious freedom. And Jews living in Eastern Europe were one group who left their homes countries after facing religious persecution. So when they fled their home countries because of religious persecution, they came here and took advantage of the booming coal mining industry. As you can see right here, you have a Polish coal miner in Courthouse, West Virginia. And you have a couple of families right here, immigrant families. So when they came over here, they brought their languages, religious practices, food, music, customs, and culture with them. And they settled in tight-knit communities where parents taught their children their native languages and customs at home. And yes, and there's McDowell County. We saw right here Pocahontas Theater, which was down on McDowell Street. And we just basically, this is a history of McDowell County. And it was named in honor of James McDowell, the governor of Virginia between 1843 and 1846, and became part of the state of West Virginia on June 20th, 1863. So West Virginia, along with Nevada, were two states that entered the Union during the course of the Civil War. I thought I might point that out. So West Virginia, it was one of two states that was entered into the Union during the Civil War. And it was predominantly agrarian, with small self-sufficient farms and isolated communities. But it wasn't until the arrival of Norfolk and Western Railway and the coal industry transformed McDowell County's economy from agricultural to a booming industrial one. And right up here, you have the Miners Hospital in Welch. This was one of 3 state hospitals open in West Virginia for these involved in dangerous occupations such as coal mining. So yes, coal mining, that is a dangerous occupation. Injuries can occur, and even worse than that. And you have people with, that they had like a trauma unit that treated miners who were injured on the job. So and you have this right here. And let me see. This is a Veterans Day parade, and it's still held today every year on Veterans Day, and it's the longest continuous Veterans Day parade in the country. And you also have the coal operators, and to the far left you have Isaiah Welch. So after the 1950s, mine mechanization changed the coal industry, requiring fewer workers. Residents left the county in search of new jobs and educational opportunities. The county's population dropped to approximately 20,000 in 2010. So when the industry dried up, when the coal mining industry dried up, so did the jobs, and the industry just basically it died, and the industry died, and left a lot of people without work, and people had to flee because of the economic lack of opportunities. Very interesting history right there. So we're over here by the courthouse. You have a couple of annex buildings over here. Let me go walk up these steps right here. Get my extra exercise. Had to get my little Rocky music going. But yeah, this is the McDowell County Courthouse right here, the front of it. So yeah, so basically to access the courthouse, you're gonna have to walk up some steps. You're gonna have to get some exercise in. Really nice. So this is some history about the courthouse. We mentioned before, Frank Pierce Milburn designed the building between 1893 and 1894. And this was, well, unfortunately, the steps where Sid Hatfield and Ed Chambers were murdered, right around on these steps. But Sid Hatfield, just a background on him, he was born in Kentucky, worked as a blacksmith and coal miner before being named chief of police in Matawan, Mingo County. Sympathetic to unionization effort in that county, Sid Hatfield joined striking miners on May 19, 1921 in shootout known as the Matawan Massacre with Baldwin Felts agents, and his murder in 1921 led to the Miners' March on Logan and Battle of Blair Mountain. So yeah, that was the aftermath, and it was just a mess. That coal mining it was some serious stuff. You know, you had your disputes and everything like that, of course. The McDowell County Sheriff vehicles. They have the magistrate court. First Baptist Church right here. And you have the probation office, Welch Daily News. Welch Daily News established in 1927. Probation office. Pretty cool, pretty cool. But folks, this is it. This is all I have for Welch, West Virginia. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and if you made it this far, make sure you hit the like button, and also if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. And once you hit the notification bell, make sure you hit all, that way you get notified each and every time I drop a new vlog. And of those feeling generous, feel free to donate to either the Buy Me a Coffee or the PayPal link in the description box, as well as in the bio. Any donations, big or small, will greatly be appreciated and will go into the content creation of this channel. So thanks a lot, and until next time, good people, I'm out. Peace.